Hey, this is Ryan of Happy Healthy Vegan. So just a day or two ago, a lot of our viewers are sending us this story going around about actor Zach Efron no longer being vegan. I was like going, Zach Efron was ever vegan? This is news to me. So I did a little more digging in, and apparently, according to a few articles like this one here on the PETA website, says that he was eating a vegan diet back in 2018. So that was 2018, and here we are now in 2022 hearing about Zach no longer being vegan. He's saying how it failed him, he felt depleted, he wasn't able to process vegetables properly. And I'm going to dig into the story and see what's true and what's not true, because there's not a lot of information out there about whether he was ever vegan, how long he was vegan. So let's start off with, he started eating a vegan diet in 2018, and the reason why this is all coming out now is because of a recent interview that just came out in Men's Health about how Zach eats.
I guess the philosophy around my current diet is intermittent fasting mixed with getting enough nutrition to sort of sustain me throughout the day. I started intermittent fasting just after I stopped being vegan. My body wasn't processing the vegetables in the right way.
So firstly, I wish Zach would have said more about this thing about his body not processing vegetables properly. Was there a name for that or something? It just sounds kind of vague. I'm not saying he didn't have this. It's just not a lot of information to go on there. It's just kind of vague. And if you actually read the print form of this interview, there's more detail, more information. In the print form of the interview, Zach says specifically that he felt depleted after 2 years of a vegan diet. And he began to wonder what would happen if he started to eat everything again. So in a moment, I'm going to respond to what he said there, but let's let him finish what he was saying.
So I decided to stop it and try something new. Intermittent fasting has been really helpful with that.
So first of all, I want to respond to this misinformation in the lower third graphics there about how there's no one diet that works for all people. Well, that's both scientifically inaccurate and conceptually inaccurate. I'm trying to say a vegan diet is a diet. Technically it's a diet in the sense that, it's describing food, but it's very vague. It just means a diet of food that contains no animal products. But with those basic parameters there's nearly, an infinite amount of ways you could construct a vegan diet. You could theoretically just eat like kale, Oreos, and beer, and that's a vegan diet. It's not particularly healthy or balanced or anything like that. This part where it says a vegan diet doesn't work for everyone, or there is no one diet that works for everyone, well, I disagree with that. The scientific consensus amongst various health organizations around the world are quite clear and consistent on this point, that appropriately planned vegan diets, not the kale, beer, and Oreos vegan diet, but appropriately planned, balanced vegan diets are nutritionally adequate and healthful for all people. So anyway, back to what Zach said about how he experienced depletion. He felt depleted after approximately 2 years of eating a vegan diet. So that alone establishes a pretty good timeline. Some super basic, first grade math shows us if he started a vegan diet 2018 and he felt depleted after 2 years, that would be 2020. So people are saying he just quit being vegan recently. Well, if your definition of recently is about 2+ years ago, you're right. But he just didn't quit last week or last month or anything like that. So let's talk more about this feeling of being depleted after 2 years of a vegan diet, because I have no idea what he's talking about. I've been vegan now for nearly 12 years, and the depletion is the furthest thing I'm feeling. But I have a few suspicions based on my experience in eating a vegan diet and seeing people say a vegan diet failed me. And he's not quite saying that, but kind of is. But this feeling of depletion, my hunch, it has to do with some forms of fasting, calorie restriction. You heard him say how he's doing intermittent fasting now that he's not vegan, and I suspect there's some major calorie restriction going on. I know that for a fact. Let's listen to things he said he put his body through to maintain the physique he has so he can still get cast in movies.
So sometimes when you're on set, I give myself permission now to sort of let up and eat what I need to eat. And if I'm craving something, I'll just have it. It's not the time or the place to put pressure on yourself unless you really need to be shirtless that entire film. What am I talking about? Which tends to be the case for me. Baywatch. That movie, I adopted a really, really specific eating regimen. Clean fish or meat with sweet potatoes, like that. And I just did that the entire film. So that was the most extreme I had ever gone. I think I was in ketosis that entire film.
So it's quite clear from Zach's own words here that on a pretty regular basis, he does various forms of calorie restriction, getting his body into ketosis, and all for the goal of making his shirtless body look way more appealing in the various movies that require him to appear shirtless in. So I'm sure many of you longtime viewers have been wondering this whole time watching this video here, is Zach a vegan? Was he ever a vegan or just merely following a vegan diet as we saw he was doing for a while there? And some of you might be wondering, what's the difference? I mean, there's a huge difference. So let me just briefly tell you what's the difference. Veganism is not a diet. Let's pull up the definition here. This is from the Vegan Society. It goes back to the 1940s. Veganism is a way of living and a philosophy which seeks to exclude as far as possible and practicable all forms of exploitation of animals for food, clothing, or any other purpose. So as you see here, it makes no mention of it being a diet. It doesn't give you six-pack abs or anything like that. It's a position that you're taking, a moral stance against animal cruelty and exploitation. And yeah, we have to eat something. So technically a vegan diet just means, like I said earlier, eating food that contains no animal products. And as I'll show you, I think the evidence is quite clear. Zach Efron was never a vegan. And I'm not saying that's bad or anything like that. I'm just saying he was never a vegan. So if people try to say, oh, Zach Efron failed as a vegan, no, he was never vegan. He was doing a vegan diet, and it looks like doing a lot of weird extreme ways of eating that are not really recommended by health organizations that tell you how to eat a balanced vegan diet. Anyway, let's check out this clip here and see if this sounds like something any recent vegan would say.
Favorite protein? This is kind of a weird one, but I really like organ meats, so I love like liver and onions and things like that.
So my point is, if someone truly wanted to be vegan, they found it morally wrong to exploit animals and to be cruel to them and needlessly slaughter them, but say they had some bizarre medical condition where they couldn't process vegetables great, seems like you would do as much as you can to avoid animal products. Maybe eat some different vegetables, but going all the way here to saying, nah, instead of just tweaking my diet a little bit, maybe adding a little bit of meat, which I'm not saying is cool or anything, but here, just going all out, fully blessing organ meats and stuff like liver, like that doesn't make any sense if someone were truly vegan. And to show you more evidence why I'm convinced that Zach was never an ethical vegan, just following a vegan diet, let's see where he even learned about a vegan diet from the first place. It goes back to a co-host of his on a Netflix show. I haven't seen it yet. It's from 2020 called Down to Earth, and his co-host, Darren Olian, am I pronouncing it right? Let me know if I got it wrong, is known for being a very fit, active guy, and like around my age, I'm 55, I think he's a couple years younger than me. Anyway, he's known for eating a vegan diet, and let's see, is he an ethical vegan or not?
How I ended up as a vegan was still from a curiosity. The more I was learning about plant food matrices and the micronutrients and the proteins, carbs, and fats, and the assimilation that they had on the body, the ease that they had on the body, the more curious I was interested in going, well, let's see that. Let's try this. So stop eating all of this meat and let's test this.
So that's just a little tiny bit of this interview I found with Darren. He goes off on building muscle and optimal health and superfoods and other kind of trendy things like that. I mean, some of the things he said in there were kind of interesting like that. That's why I showed this clip. It made no mention about animals or ethics or anything like that, which it's cool. I mean, that's understandable. I've probably done a few interviews that were more health focused like that, and we didn't get into any of the actual, like what veganism really is. So anyway, I found this article that he wrote about why you don't have to be vegan, and I think it's pretty clear he's not an ethical vegan. So in this article he says, quote, "I am vegan because it makes me feel amazing from a physical perspective, but it also felt right philosophically as well," which means that, yeah, he's okay with the moral, ethical part. But that's kind of secondary. The reason why he's vegan is, it says right here, it makes him feel amazing physically. And furthermore, in this article, he said something I've never ever seen an ethical vegan, a vegan activist ever say. He says, if you do find you need some meat in your diet, I'm not sure why that would be, but anyway, then do it with the most sacred understanding and respect that you can. Like there's an ethical ethical, moral way to kill an animal that doesn't want to be killed, that you don't need to eat. He says, don't dishonor any animal's life. If you do eat meat, make it organic, like that somehow is better for the animal. Like if you kill or eat an organically fed animal, that honors the animal's life. That makes absolutely no sense. And humanely raised, like, so if you treat the animal great through its life, but kill it needlessly, suddenly, and that's okay. Anyway, I'm not saying Darren's a bad person or anything like that. I don't know who he is. I have no axe to grind with him. I'll maybe watch their show one day, but I just want to just make it absolutely clear that he's not an ethical vegan. And again, that's not bad. It's perfectly fine if you just want to eat a vegan diet. That's cool. I have no problem with you. I'm just trying to point out that Zach's not vegan. And let's talk a little bit about their Netflix show. Like I said, it was released in 2020. And, you know, Zach supposedly started a vegan diet in 2018, and Darren taught it to him. So Darren was a lot more long-term vegan, but yet in this show of theirs, they're eating things that are, I've never seen any vegan eat, like, you know, insects.
Yeah.
Excuse me, this is the suri.
Oh, come on.
Look at that.
What the hell?
And to be perfectly clear, I'm not certain if Darren is eating the insects. I can't tell from the camera angle, but it's quite clear that Zach is enjoying eating insects in 2020. So I guess he wasn't even vegan then. And I found this other clip that you should check out too, which shows more evidence about what I was talking about earlier, how Zach has done all sorts of like weird, extreme, restrictive eating to get his six-pack abs, like not eating like proper food groups for extended periods of time.
So good.
What's you say?
I'm so happy that I'm eating carbs again. Like I went like years without eating carbs. When I shot Baywatch, I didn't have a carb for like 6 months. I almost lost my mind.
So I think there's a few lessons we can learn from Zach Efron's story here. First of all, it's quite clear he was never an ethical vegan. Again, that's totally fine. I'm not bagging on him or anything. I'm just pointing this out because I know we're going to hear from all these anti-vegan people. Ha ha, take that, vegans. Zach Efron failed as a vegan. No, he just failed while following an extreme and restrictive form of eating a vegan diet. So that's our second lesson here, that if you're going to follow a vegan diet and you want it to succeed, you are truly concerned about animal ethics, animal cruelty, not want to exploit animals, do yourself a favor and don't fall into these trendy, gimmicky forms of being vegan where you're restricting entire food groups or not eating cooked food, all these things that no professional health organizations are saying that you should do if you want to succeed as a vegan. So follow what the health experts are saying, that you should have an appropriately planned, well-balanced vegan diet to get all the nutrition that you need. If you want to get a little bit more, like say protein, take a protein supplement. There's great vegan ones out there. So leave your questions and comments down below. Let me know if you might know a little bit more about Zach Efron's vegan diet. I tried to thoroughly research it, but maybe there's a few more details out there, but yeah, share it with me. I'd like to know. And hit like if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to our channel, and right next to that subscribe button, hit the join button. Become one of our Happy Fam channel members. All sorts of cool perks, and you get a cool little badge on my live streams on Fridays. It's really awesome. Anyway, guys, thanks so much, and remember, it doesn't suck being vegan.
My smile may be pretty.